We got to get back to doing what's expected of us as free citizens in this democracy. That means being tolerant, being respectful, staying informed, and being engaged. I'm former Congressman Joe Walsh. Follow me here and join the millions of Americans who are renewing their social contract with each other. The social contract, it's on us. The contrast. I was struck by, good morning, everybody. Former Congressman Joe Walsh here. This is the Social Contract with Joe Walsh. I'm at the Democratic Convention in Chicago this week, in and around the convention. By the way, who'd have thunk that? Former Tea Party Congressman Joe Walsh. 12 years ago, Tea Party Congressman Joe Walsh, Tea Party hellraiser Joe Walsh. 12 years later, he's at the Democratic National Convention in Chicago. Who'd have thunk it? By the way, I didn't change. The Republican Party changed. My former political party changed. The contrast, though, last night at the Democratic National Convention, throughout the evening, the entire crowd would hold up signs that said USA, USA, USA. Happened almost during and after every speech. After every speaker finished, these signs, the entire arena lit up with USA signs at the Democratic National Convention. And I contrasted that with the signs that were held up at the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee a month earlier. Those signs all read, "Mass deportation now." Mass deportation now. And I went to bed last night struck by that contrast. The Democrats holding up signs at their convention, proudly boasting about the USA. The signs only said USA on them. At the Republican convention, the Republicans held up signs that said mass deportation now. And I ask you, and I'm not going to avoid this. I'll go right at you. I won't demean anybody. I won't insult anybody. But who's prouder of their country? Who feels better about their country? Who thinks this is a better place to live? Democrats holding up signs that say USA, or Republicans holding up signs that say mass deportation now? Democrats welcoming anybody and everybody that wants to be here, that wants to be an American, that wants to come to the land of opportunity. Republicans saying, get the hell out now. In fact, we're going to round you all up, millions and millions of you. We're going to round you all up and we're going to get you the hell out of here. The contrast. Look, I'm not, and again, everybody listening to me, hello, Kenny Miller. I'm not a Democrat. I have always been a border hawk. I believe a nation's not a nation if a nation doesn't have borders. I believe a sovereign nation is only a sovereign nation if that sovereign nation defends its borders. Nobody should come into America illegally. I get that. I believe that. There may be some on the left who don't believe that. I believe that. But I also believe we need to make the process of coming here legally a hell of a lot easier, a hell of a lot less costly, a hell of a lot faster. And we need to welcome more and more people into this country legally. We would not have such a problem with illegal immigration if it was easier to get into this country and become an American citizen. if it was easier, if we made that process easier, and if instead of a couple 100,000 every year, we ramped that up and allowed 5, 6, 7, 800,000 people into this country legally to become American citizens legally. If we did that every year, we would not have such a problem of people trying to get into this country illegally. All I'm saying, though, is this. I was struck by the contrast in those signs. Again, we talked about this a bit yesterday. Right now, man, the Democrats are wearing their I Love America right there on their sleeves. And this has flipped in my lifetime. This has flipped in my public career. 12 years ago, at a Republican convention, you proudly saw thousands of USA, USA signs. 12 years ago, Democrats had a bit of a problem. And be honest, Democrats had a bit of a problem a while back publicly displaying their patriotism. They did. I've never had a problem with it, and Republicans generally have never had a problem waving the flag, proudly saying, I'm a Republican, damn it. I love it here, damn it. This is the best country in the world, damn it. But that's flipped. And now we've got Republicans at their convention demanding that people get the hell out of this country. Mass deportation now. Those signs were everywhere at the Republican National Convention. What impression of America, my Republican friends, are you giving the rest of the world when you demand mass deportation? And by the way, Republicans, it ain't happening. It can't happen. Logistically, it's an impossibility. We're not going to round up 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 to 7 to 8, 9 million people in this country illegally. We're not going to round them all up, put them in a big old cage, line them up, and then escort them out of this country. That ain't happening. That's not happening. And it shouldn't happen. And we should signal to the rest of the world that America, damn it, is the best and greatest place on the planet. And if you want to come here and you want a taste of freedom and opportunity and equality, come on, baby. We want you and we welcome you. Do it the right way. Do it legally. But man, our arms are open. We embrace you. And that's where Democrats are right now. Republicans, stiff arm, back of the arm, mass deportation now. Unlike a lot of Democrats, my MAGA friends, I understand, because I'm not a Democrat and I'm a border hawk, why you want mass deportation. I get it, Republicans. I get it, MAGA, because your country and my country has done an absolutely shitty job of keeping people out of this country who come here illegally and of defending our borders. I get that. And we've got to stop that. But the answer isn't to round up people and get them out of this country and deport them. That's not happening. And that's not the answer. And that's not the right, humane, smart thing to do. Last thought on this contrast that I saw last night. And I'm going to continue to talk about this all week because it just slays me. I'm going to continue to preach all week. And I'm looking at you, MAGA, you because you have embraced Donald Trump and you have turned your back, MAGA, you have, on freedom and democracy, and you've embraced authoritarianism. I want you to understand, MAGA, that Democrats now fully embrace freedom. They own freedom. Every speaker last night talked about freedom because you all, MAGA, are not talking about freedom anymore. Trump doesn't talk about freedom. You all talk about, Trump talks about, I want to be a dictator. I'm gonna reshape this country single-handedly, and you all applaud that shit. That's not America, and that's not freedom, and that's not democracy. You did that, MAGA. You let Democrats now own freedom. And they do. And you, MAGA, let Democrats own patriotism. And they do, MAGA, because Donald Trump bad mouths America every time he opens his mouth. But this issue of immigration, we got to find some common ground on. We're not rounding everybody up and deporting them. And that contrast, just telling you politically, MAGA, the average American who doesn't pay a lot of attention to politics, they see at one convention, mass deportation now, and they see at the other convention, USA, USA. The average undecided American, kind of in the middle, not like you and me. They love their country. They take pride in their country. And they will opt for USA over mass deportation now every day of the week. Hey, Lex just said illegal is illegal. I know, and I agree. Illegal is illegal. I get that. We have to defend our borders. But where you and I may disagree, Lex, is I want more and more legal immigrants into this country because, by the way, my MAGA friends, last point I want to make on this, my MAGA American friends, we aren't having enough babies here in America to keep this great miracle of a free market economy humming. This country needs hard-working immigrants. We've always needed hard-working immigrants coming to our shores. Hey, by the way, second thing, you're so full of shit, Dick Frisbee. You're so full of shit. You don't mean that. You don't mean that. Nobody wants our country overrun by people into this country illegally. Defend our borders, but let's welcome in more. As you know, I'm part of Republicans for Harris. A bunch of Republicans and conservatives who, and you may disagree with us, plenty of you Trump supporters will, but who believe Donald Trump is an existential threat to our democracy. And so because of that, we're supporting the Democratic nominee, Kamala Harris, even though we disagree with Kamala Harris on most policy. I'm very happy and proud to be a founding member of Republicans for Harris. And before you jump on me, I'm still a proud Tea Party conservative. Let me say clearly, I disagree with Kamala Harris on most policy. This isn't about policy. This isn't about policy to me. It's about defending our democracy. But this group, Republicans for Harris, continues to grow. Judge Michael Luttig, former judge of the U.S. Court of Appeals for the 4th District, an extremely conservative American judge, came out yesterday and endorsed Kamala Harris, Judge Michael Luttig. And in his endorsement of Harris, he said the following, which I think really hits home why me and so many of us are part of Republicans for Harris. Judge Luttig said, in the presidential election of 2024, there is only one political party and only one candidate for the presidency that can claim the mantle of defenders and protectors of America's democracy, the Constitution, and the rule of law. And that candidate is Kamala Harris. And that candidate is not Donald Trump. Therefore, he's endorsing Kamala Harris. And again, I just want to, Troy Douglas, I agree, hardworking immigrants, not criminal, illegal aliens. I want to really emphasize this, everybody, and applaud, by the way, Judge Michael Luttig for coming out and endorsing Kamala Harris. And I think every single day you're going to see more Republicans come out and join us in this coalition of Republicans for Harris. And Kamala Harris is going to need it to defeat Donald Trump. Because I believe right now, if the election would be held tomorrow, Donald Trump would win electorally. This election is going to be that close. I want you all to think about this. I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again, and I'm going to say it slowly for emphasis. This is American representative democracy 101. I'm going to walk us all through this slowly so y'all get it. Lisa Marie, love you. Thank you. Here, I'll start at the top. There is an election this November. How's that for basics? There are two major political party candidates running for office. You with me so far? Tell me if I'm going too fast. The Democratic nominee is Kamala Harris. The Republican nominee is Donald Trump. There are these two candidates running for president. You with me? Okay, let's move on. One of these candidates is going to win in November. And one of these candidates is going to lose. We all agree, right, on that. We all agree. You're with me so far. Everybody listening to me right now, Republican, Democrat, Trump supporter, Trump hater, there are two candidates run for president. One of them's going to win. One of them's going to lose in November, right? Here's the difference. And I'll get to you, gaming redneck. Here's the difference. If the Democratic nominee loses, and I want you to listen to this, if Kamala Harris loses in November, she will publicly stand up in front of the American people and publicly concede. She will publicly congratulate Donald Trump. And she will publicly participate in that beautifully American thing we call the peaceful transfer of power. Listen to me. If Kamala Harris loses in November, she will do all of that. If Donald Trump loses in November, listen to me, he will do none of that. He will never publicly concede and acknowledge that he lost and the people spoke. He will never say that. He will never publicly congratulate Kamala Harris. He will never do that. And he will never peacefully participate in the peaceful transfer of power. He won't do that. Like if Kamala Harris loses, she'll go to Donald Trump's inauguration. So the American people can see that you've all spoken and we're all on board with what the American people said, even if we don't like it. Donald Trump would never be caught dead at Kamala Harris's inauguration. Deep down, I know that even you, Robert, And no, you can't gag me with a tampon. Even you, Robert, be better than that, Robert. By the way, we need to gag you with a tampon? Like, Robert, my friend, seriously? How old are you, brother? I know even you, Robert, deep down, you will again be disappointed in Donald Trump if he doesn't have the decency to behave, Robert, like even you've told your kids to behave. I know deep down every American listening to me right now, every American believes it's wrong for Trump not to publicly concede and publicly acknowledge he lost. And I want you to think about that. And by the way, those of you on the fence right now, I don't know who I'm going to vote for. I'm sick and tired of Donald Trump. I know he's an asshole. I know he's a jerk. But damn, Joe, Kamala Harris, she's a lefty. She's really way over there. And I don't want the Democratic policies. I don't know who I'm going to vote for. Think about that. Think about that. What do you want? Do you care about our representative democracy? Do you want to vote for a president who will not acknowledge that he lost publicly, who will not concede, who will not do that thing that is expected of all of our candidates to keep this unbelievably unique experiment in democracy going? The gaming redneck, by the way, says, I don't want Trump winning. But on the other hand, Joe, it's hard putting food on the table, and the Biden-Harris administration is responsible for that. Gaming redneck, I appreciate your comment, and I appreciate the fact that you don't want Trump winning. I want you to think about this, and I believe that the Biden administration has done a shitty job of walking the American people through what's happened to us economically the last 3 to 4 years. Like, hypothetically, if I'd have been elected president in 2020, I'd have stood in front of the American people right after I got elected, and I'd have said, okay, every American huddle up. Every American pull up a chair. I wish Biden had done this, because this is what I would have done. The very first speech I would have given as president back in 2020, January 21, I would have said, okay, every American, come around me, listen to me. Here's the deal, America. We just went through a once-in-a-lifetime pandemic. Once in a lifetime. It has fucked up our economy. It has fucked up the world economy. It has fucked up these global supply chains like we ain't never seen in years. So let me tell you something, America. We're going to come out of this, but America, things are going to be lousy for a while. Things are going to be rough. Shit's going to cost a lot, because we've got supplies backed up because of COVID for months and months and years. So gas is going to be expensive, milk's going to be expensive, bread's going to be expensive. We are going to experience big time inflation in this country and around the world. The whole damn world's going to be impacted by it. Things are going to suck, and it's going to hurt for a while. But here's what I'm going to do, America. Here's what my administration is going to do, America, to help get us to the other side. I wish Biden had done that. I don't think he was capable of doing that. Too old to communicate that. But he didn't give the American people a roadmap from the beginning. COVID hit us. This is what it means economically for us. Things are going to suck for a long, long time, but we have a plan to get out of it. And I wish Biden had every month for the last 3.5 years walked us through that, updated us on it, updated us on the economy, updated us on inflation, updated us on how things are going, because here we are in 24, we're doing really well. We really are. Inflation peaked in 2022, my redneck friend, peaked. Inflation has been coming down for the past almost 2 years. We are doing better economically than post-COVID than every other industrialized country on the planet. But I get it. I get it. Biden didn't do that. People didn't understand how we were hit. And because of that, the Biden and Harris administration are getting blamed for a lot going on and a lot going wrong in the economy. Charles McCain says, "You're a disgusting jerk who can't even articulate anything without using the F word. Go away." I can articulate this, Charles, without using the F word. You have to be a heck of a lot better than that, than to just call me a disgusting jerk. And look at that, Charles. I responded to you without using the F word. We got to get to a place in this country, don't we, right, where we can go at each other without taking ugly personal shots. Charles, I'm not a disgusting jerk. You don't know me, but I'm not. And I don't think you are either. I think you're concerned about where this country is politically. I think you support Donald Trump for damn good reasons. And I oppose Donald Trump for damn good reasons. And I just want us to get to a point in this country where Charles and I can sit down and have a drink and talk about our differences without lighting each other up. Doris Jane Peach, things will never get better, Doris said, as long as hearts don't change. Doris, if I were with you right now, I'd give you a big old kiss. I'd give you a big old hug. Thank you. You're right. And that's a perfect note to end today on. Unless our hearts don't change, this country's in a lot of trouble. And our democracy won't stand. And I don't give a damn who wins in November. It doesn't matter who wins in November. It's not about Harris and Trump. It's about us, the people in this country. And if we, Doris, thank you for your message, if we continue on this road where we hate, look at the hate. Look at the hate that people fire, right, are firing at me right now. And there's hate from the other side. And there are times I fall off the wagon and express hate at people who disagree with me. The level of hate that we fire at each other. This can't continue. I hope on that you all agree with me, even if you disagree with me on the border and mass deportation. I hope you agree with me that this most beautiful experiment in democracy cannot continue if we are at each other's throats. As Doris said, if our hearts can't change, won't change. That's the whole point of this podcast, Social Contract with Joe Walsh. It's on us to save this democracy. It's not on Trump. It's not on Harris. It's not on Pelosi. It's not on Mitch McConnell. It's on us, the American people, to do our job again, the social contract, to be tolerant, to be respectful, to stay informed, and to be engaged. American democracy will end, will expire if we don't do that. Thank you for listening, everybody. By the way, follow me on every platform. Follow me on Twitter at Walsh Freedom. Follow me on Instagram, Walsh_freedom. Follow me on Facebook, Joe Walsh. Follow me on TikTok. Right now it's Joe Walsh at Joe Walsh White Flag. And subscribe to my YouTube channel, Social Contract with Joe Walsh. I'm here in Chicago. My hometown is Chicago. Actually, I'm a suburban boy. For the Democratic National Convention, I'll be here all week. You'll be hearing from me all week. Again, baby, we all love this country. Thank you, Jacqueline. We all love this country. MAGA, far left, get to a place. My last note, Keith, I promise I'm done. Damn it. Preach, Walsh, preach. Get to a place, America, where we can acknowledge we all love this country. We just disagree on how to make her a better place. Thanks for listening. Be brave. We're out, Keith.
Remember to listen, share, and follow The Social Contract with Joe Walsh on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and everywhere great podcasts are found. And be sure to leave a 5-star review. This has been The Social Contract with Joe Walsh.